Hey guys, happy Monday. This is Randy at Bmore Photography again. How you guys doing? Anyway, Friday I unboxed this guy, the Autel smart controller. As fun as that is, obviously it's more important what it does once you have it in your hands, once you get it set up, and once you use it to get the birds up in the air. And that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit today. I'm going to talk about my first impressions using it this weekend. I'm going to give you the good and the bad, I guess the what's to be determined, sort of. Anyway, without any further ado, let's go ahead and start talking about the Autel Smart Controller and my experience with it. So Friday we unboxed it, obviously. The first thing you notice is it takes a while to boot up. It's an older tablet, obviously. It's running Android 7. Obviously, it's effective for what it does. I've had no problems using the Autel app. After this is all said and done, I'm going to give you a little screen share, get you into what the actual interface looks like. It's obviously not much difference than the Autel app is normally. There's a few extra settings in there, which you'll see, and there's some extra settings now because this is actually on the beta firmware, and that was the first thing that came up. The Autel smart controller actually pushed the beta firmware to the birds when we first started connecting to it, rather than the normal process for beta firmware is you need to download it to the SD card and put it into the bird itself and upload it that way. So that said, the smart controller pushed it as if it was a live beta, a live non-beta firmware update. So in any event, no worries. It all worked good, and it's working fine so far. The issues we did have Friday, and you'll see later where you update the app in the general section of the Autel app. Well, there was an app update, and there was a system update. No problem, system update, hit that, good. The app update, when you get into that category, it had the listing of all the changes for the panorama and all the changes made, which made the text too long to fit the screen, and no ability to scroll to get to the bar to install the software, the update. And at that point, without the software updated, the right wheel did absolutely nothing. The controller paired to the bird, we were fine. Everything else, the controls worked fine, but the right wheel was nothing. I'm thinking we have a dead right wheel. Well, that's not the case. After we finally got the update done, so obviously Autel had realized there was some kind of issue. Later on that evening when I came back on Friday night, they had shortened the description of the software update to just be the basic, it's 1.4, yada yada, go see the website to see the details. So that enabled the bar to be there to install the update. Boom, install the update. Great. Once the update's installed, the right wheel does work. The right wheel on the smart controller currently only does zoom. It does not control the camera functions any longer. And the only thing it's primed to now is zoom. But when you do see, when I get into the screen share section, you'll see that it is considered a configurable button now, although at this point in time, there are no options to actually configure it. But that said, being in that menu means I'm sure they were planning to add certain features to that right wheel. I do not believe they'll be able to put the camera controls back on there, at least in the same way they did before, for two reasons. There is no click to the button, so it's not a button as well, it's just a wheel. You know, in the standard controller, when you click, you set in a setting, and there's no display button to back out of the setting. So it may not be that they're going to put the normal whole camera range on the wheel, but we'll see what they do with the firmware updates. That was, one of the things that was kind of the bad, although it's worked out. The app update worked. They had a little issue with the text, and they realized that on the back end, changed the description. Update went well. And actually Saturday there was another update to the app. I'm not sure, there was no description to that. I have no idea if it made any changes. I'm sure it was just minor bug fixes. That said, the Autel app is up and running. Of course, when you boot the controller up, you get to the Autel app. There's no apps that show up other than this when you get into it. You can swipe up and see the few apps. And again, I'm not going to show that now because in the screen share you will see the full interface of the smart tablet, and to be able to see what features are on there and what it looks like, in its base mode. Beyond that, the other, I would say, I guess, bad is that in the run-up to this, there was a lot of media, there was a lot of push, there was a lot of video, a lot of, slideshow decks on video. One of them was get excited, get prepared, Autel EVA 2 owners, it's coming. And this is actually a screen grab from that. I know you can't read that, but the important part is down here. It's describing the memory, 128 gigs, and it does specifically say it's expandable up to 1 terabyte. I have looked this guy over. I cannot find an expansion slot. There is none that I know of. I have put a ticket into Autel for the issues I had initially with the update to the software, which did resolve itself. And I also asked about the SD card slot and a few other questions that I put into Autel. I have yet to hear a response from Autel beyond the automated, "We have received your ticket." So that said, it was advertised to have expandable storage, and at this point, I don't know that it does. It may be somehow internal. I don't know. I'm waiting for an answer. I'm assuming it does not. And that's the other, I guess, bad thing. The rest I have to say pretty much is all good so far. I gotta say, it's good. It feels nice. It is a very sturdy piece of hardware. There is no flimsiness, no cheapness to it. Everything feels top-notch, high quality. We do have the protective guide on the back. It basically covers the handles. It makes it more ergonomically easy to handle. The sticks are nice, rubber grip, nice thick rubber grip on it. They have a little, nice spike to them, so you are able to pinch if you like. They're a little better than the other sticks. There is a little bit of a reach to get to your buttons and the wheels, but most of us could have that with no problem at all. Of course, there is no take-off land button. Not a big deal. Of course, you can take off manually with the sticks and all that, but there is no actual button as the standard remote control has for that. There is a tripod mount slot on the bottom. If you do tend to mount your controller onto a base, that's a possibility with this unit as well. The battery life is good. It charges really well. It actually came with a 65-watt block that had 2 USB-C ports and a USB-A port in it. So that's pretty nice. That's a $30 or $40 charger, I'm assuming, because not many of them are 65 watts. I have one behind me up here that's 45 watts. I charge it with that because I wasn't in a hurry. But the block that comes with it is a 65-watt charger. Very nice. There was other questions about, does this fit into the back of the GPC case? Well, that's a yes and no answer. It does and it doesn't. I have the big Autel case here, the one with the slot in the bottom for the smart controller. In theory, yes, it does fit. You take the sticks off, you fold the antennas down, it will lay into the slot. What it does not do is, since the leg does not fold at all or articulate in any way, it is a little higher than the ridge of the box. So can you put it in there and put the top deck on and have it closed? Absolutely. Am I going to do that? No, because at some point there is pressure on the screen. You can either lay it flat on the bottom and have the screen facing the bottom of the screen, or you can have it, of course, up this way. But in any event, it's not balanced. It's a little too tall to fit in the bottom bin smoothly. If you care to carry it that way, it definitely fits. It's not a problem. It's not going to not latch or whatever, but I just figuring for this much, I don't need to put that kind of pressure on any of this device to put it into the control case. It's not that big a deal. I just happened to have a nice bag I had gotten a long time ago from B&H on a deal of the day. It was too small for anything I did, and it actually winds up being perfect for this guy. So I'm going to use this fella, an undefined, I don't know, a 10-inch type bag or something. It actually holds the tablet, has control stuff for it. So I'm going to carry my Autel small control on that, not have to worry about jamming it into the bottom of the case and worrying about possibly damaging it. Other than that, the rest you'll see, I guess, when I show you the inside of the app. You'll see the tablet. Everything has been working well. The update was a little sketchy, like I said, but apparently they've realized that there's an issue. We can't see the screen, full screen, or you can't scroll, so they have addressed that issue. So I'm assuming further updates shouldn't be a problem. The one thing I do want to say is this device was purchased by me. Of course, I'm not an influencer. I have no followers, so I couldn't influence anybody, probably not even my wife. Point is, this was bought for me to use for my business. It's a reach, not a necessity, but a very wanted item. There is difficulty seeing, in the bright sun. I have obviously the lift door. I had a tablet on here, very unwieldy. iPad Pro, Shield. I'm figuring this is going to make my life easier. No cables. It does. It's very bright. It does what it's supposed to do. It's very adequate. There is some question, is it worth the full price? I'd say at this point, the jury's out, but I'm saying it's definitely not worth what it was advertised at for several reasons. Obviously, the V1, V2 we all know about, that's a big hit. That's a hit to value. There's no future of this. Do I need it now or do I want it now? Yes, I have two Evo 2 Pro version 1s. I'll be flying until I get a version 2 or an Evo 3 or whatever comes next. So therefore, I do want to have this. I am hoping that Randall is true to his word and he promises he will address this, and those who are involved with this, who have this issue going forward, will be addressed when the time comes. We have no idea what form that'll take or if he even will. And at that point, I guess it won't matter. They have their money. I have my controller, and I'll be stuck with a piece of old hardware that I may not be able to use going forward, but we'll see. Right now, I'm not displeased. Of course, I could still send it back. I won't do that. It does what it's supposed to do. Like I said, there was some promises made in the run-up that have not come up to be true. But, you know, stuff does happen, and hopefully they will address it in the way they fix it for us going forward to those who will be affected buying another controller down the road. That said, I think I can end this part now. This will go right after this. I will have a little screen share showing you the actual the interface and stuff, and go over some of the things that added with the new beta firmware. You may be aware of that. I recommend getting it. If you're not great to do betas or you're not really comfortable with that, definitely when it comes out, try it. The panorama modes are great. I've had some great results with that, and maybe I'll do a video on that later, show you some of my results and show you the process of how that works while we're up in the air. Anyway, for now, I think that's it. Like I said, stay tuned for the screen share part of the video, and I think we'll do it for today. We'll see you soon. Guys, take care. Peace out. Fly safe. Hey, guys. Like I said in the first part of the video, I'm going to now show you the actual interface of the screen of the smart controller, what it looks like, some of the differences in the app. And actually, most of the differences in the app are actually going to be because of the new firmware that was installed, pushed through the smart controller to the drones when I installed it on Friday. Anyway, the only app list is here. Very simple. Obviously, not much to it. The Autel Explorer app, calculator, calendar, Chrome, clock, file explorer, etc., etc. The only useful app that I've found is the recording app, which is recording the screen grab right now. That said, when you boot it up, it goes right to the Autel Explorer app, and of course it's an Android tablet, so you can do the normal things to get you out of that. So here we go. We'll open up the Autel Explorer app, and we're going to go ahead and see what the differences are now. Open up the camera. We'll get to the settings. So if you're here, the main difference here is the General tab, same as before, but that is where your software updates are for the smart controller and the software involved with that. So you can hit the app, it should be updated, it'll be updated there. The system software the same, and since the aircraft is on and connected, it will actually show the firmware of the aircraft as well as up to date, which actually is the beta firmware we are currently on. As I mentioned in the first part of the video, the smart controller actually pushed the video to us, not like a normal beta where you had to load it onto the controller. Anyway, other than that, the differences are in the remote control configuration screen. If you go to the customizable buttons, oops, there we go, back one. You can also see, as I have set C2 to speed mode now, that will flip you between ludicrous and normal mode. The only issue is right now when you switch, the prompt on the screen comes up in Chinese or whatever, and I have no idea. I guess it's saying ludicrous or normal, but it doesn't show English, and I believe it's just a toggle between the two. As you'll see, which is different, we now have the ability to customize the zoom wheel, or I'd say not quite yet, but it is coming. As you see, there are no options here at this point, but right now the right wheel is set to zoom, and I'm assuming the fact that it's in this menu is indicating that soon it will have other options as well. The other change with the firmware update in the menus is actually going to be on the General tab with the customized waypoint to land. Of course, we can't do it now. We have no GPS set. It doesn't see the map. We're inside. But if you were outside with a GPS connection, it would show your map where you are, and you could drop a pin where you want to drop the aircraft on a return to home situation. I don't know where that would be useful. Maybe if you have a visual observer and you want to drop it near him. But anyway, that is an option now in the current new beta firmware. Beyond that, the only other changes are going to be in the actual flight modes to the panorama mode because of the beta software, and that is not going to be visible because we're not in the air, but that would be right there. There are several panorama modes, and they work very well. I suggest you guys, if you get an opportunity, go ahead, either download the beta if you're comfortable with that, or when it does update to the full firmware, I'd advise getting it. The panoramas are very nice. They come out with some really nice results. Anyway, I think that's it for now. I'll go ahead and end this part of the screen grab, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.